like you. It's a vote for your age group, because elected officials, I will tell you, and they will tell you unless they're lying, they know which parts of their district vote. They know it geographically, they know it in terms of age group, in terms of ethnicity. Am I right? And I'll tell you, when someone comes into my office and they come from Northwest Philadelphia, I'm always perked up a little bit because Northwest Philadelphia votes. Okay? So, but I try to take a breath and say, you know, I need to treat everyone equally, and I really try to do that. But I know, and every elected official knows. And not just who came out for me, okay? It's who came out. Because if you didn't come out for me last time, maybe you can come out for me this time. And remember that every vote you cast is a vote for yourself. And for yourself, for your neighborhood, for your group, any group you're part of. And I want to talk about a very special group that I think we're all a part of, which is Philadelphia. And if you look at Philadelphia and you think about the things that the state, the choices that a governor makes, and how that affects you, how that affects your kids, how that affects your neighborhoods, how that affects general assistance, you think about those decisions that a governor makes, don't you want a governor to be perking up when someone from Philadelphia walks in the room? There you go. The way you do that is by voting. By voting in every election, in every contest, and then the governor's going to perk up, especially, not only, but especially if you vote in the governor contest. So I want to roll back 4 years to 2010. In the November election of 2010, the governor's race was decided by 350,000 votes. Now, in that election, 500,000 Philadelphians stayed home. Okay, so if you're looking around for someone to blame for some problems that you may see, it's fun to stand and blame the person who's in office, but I suggest that you turn to your neighbor and blame them if they didn't come out. And if you didn't come out, look in the mirror and take responsibility. When you don't come out to vote, you are slapping Philadelphia in the face. You are making it harder for me and the mayor and every Philadelphia elected official to advocate for Philadelphia. So the most important thing is get out there and vote. Now, yes, it is important who you vote for, and you want to make educated choices, and we have a handbook that you already have. It's either white or pink. We have two versions. It's pretty much the same, but we got two different colors. And that handbook is a guide to the upcoming election. It doesn't, because I'm from a government office, I can't take sides in any election contest, but it does so it doesn't tell you about the particular candidates, but it has a section where it says, here's some ways to get information about candidates. So I'm not going to give you any kind of advice about who to vote for tonight, but I will go over what is on the ballot. Okay, so the first thing to realize is that there are 3 different parts of this ballot when you walk in. And 2 parts of it are open to any Philadelphian. So if you're sitting in here and you're not registered as a Democrat, you're not registered as a Republican, you still have things to vote for on May 20th. There are 3 ballot questions, and they're listed in your book. There's a special election for council at large. This is for someone to serve from basically June of this year until the end of 2015 on city council. And these elections are open to every registered voter in the city of Philadelphia, no exceptions. By the way, if someone has a felony conviction and they've served their time, can they register and vote in Philadelphia? Yes, thank you. Please spread the word. A lot of people don't know that. It's different in different states, but in Pennsylvania, if you've done your time, you can vote. Okay, now this part is the primary election. And this part, you can only vote in if you're registered as a Democrat or as a Republican. So on the ballot in the primaries is, I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to start from Ward Executive Committee. This is your committee person, your party committee person. This is the person who represents your interests to your party. This person has an enormous amount of power because it's the committee people who elect ward leaders and who determine endorsements. This is very powerful. And the people who are running for committee, they're just running in your voting precinct. So any decent committee person, maybe you already know who they are, or maybe they're going to come knocking on your door. And if there's no one there who knows who you are or comes knocking on your door, consider running a write-in campaign to be part of it. This is, the Ward Executive Committee is where the power lives in Philadelphia.
That's right.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is very important, this bottom line. Okay, then there are elections for the party state committees. The state committee is, these people will go usually to Harrisburg or Hershey or something like that. They go and they meet with people from the party from all over the state. And this group also endorses candidates for statewide offices. It's quite important. It's quite important. But it's not quite as personal and down home as your ward committee person who has to be a neighbor of yours. Okay, then moving up one, representative in the General Assembly. These are your state reps. And this too is a district, this is one of the smallest districts that there is for elected office. So there are about 23 state reps, sort of part of Philadelphia. So again, you should know, if you haven't heard something, I mean, maybe your state rep or state rep candidates haven't knocked on your door, but if you haven't heard anything, I mean, there's a really small district. So, so these people should be as more responsive to you as a single person than your state senator or other people, because the district is small. Okay, so then you have senator, Pennsylvania state senator. And together, the representatives and the senators in Pennsylvania do what Congress does. So Congress, you have Congress people, you have senators, and they write federal laws and send them to the president to get signed or vetoed. And it's the exact same on the state level. And a lot of things are state laws. So, for instance, the voter ID law was a state law. So there are a lot of things that the federal government does, but there's a lot that the states do that the federal government doesn't do. Okay, then we come up to lieutenant governor. So the lieutenant governor is kind of like the vice president, but for the state of Pennsylvania, not for the whole country of the United States. And one of the interesting things about the lieutenant governor sits on the board of pardons. So again, if you're concerned with issues of pardons for people with convictions, this is a position of power. And I think one of the issues is how much. I mean, basically, the board of pardons. Someone can't get pardoned until a certain number of people on the board of pardons read their application. So if this is you might want to ask your lieutenant governor candidates about their priorities. Okay, and then at the top of the ticket, governor of the state of Pennsylvania. The governor can sign a law or veto a law. The governor controls the state budget to a very large extent. So the governor has a lot of political power, tons of political power, the most powerful person in this Commonwealth. Power over education funding, power over highway bridge funding, power over all kinds of decisions. And that's very important. Again, 4 years ago, 500,000 Philadelphians stayed home. 500,000. If that happens again, we get what we deserve, right? And I have a feeling that everyone in this room is going to be at the polls on May 20th and then again in November. But it's not enough. It's not enough. We have to get everyone else out, and I want to focus you on one group. This is a group even larger than the number of Philadelphians who have been convicted of a crime. Even larger, 35% of the registered voters in Philadelphia are what?
Women.
Not seniors, under 35. Okay? Under 35. Wow, right? Wow. Wow. And the under 35s, the millennials, I've been trying to listen to them a lot. They are energetic. I mean, they're young, you know? They're energetic. They have hopes and dreams. This is a generation that has seen some real troubles. Okay, when I think about my generation, I just turned 50. I think about my generation. I mean, there were jobs. I mean, there were troubles, right? But there were jobs. It wasn't everybody out, you know, bright kids willing to work hard with just nothing to go to. So they've been through a lot. They may not understand what government can do for them. And I want to just give you a word of advice about talking to this generation. You know, you can give them some statistics. Tell them that they're 35% of the registered voters in Philadelphia, but in the last election they were like 13% of the voters who actually came out. You can tell them stuff like that. But the main thing is that they don't really want to listen to us. They're going to listen to each other. So what I think we need to do is listen to them, ask them, what do you care about? Try to find out how has government affected you or not. Try to just listen, and then when we find out what's important to them, then we can motivate them through that. And I'll tell you, when they get connected to the idea that voting is power, that if they voted at their full weight, maybe the proceeds of the Pennsylvania lottery wouldn't go to seniors, might go to job training, might go to job creation, might go to student loan forgiveness. Once they get that idea, they're going to out-organize us like crazy. Okay? So think about the younger people in your life. Listen to them, ask them. Ask them and listen. And they will tell you what they care about. And then we can use that to teach them how to get what they need and what they deserve, not just from government today, but from the city of Philadelphia, the state of Pennsylvania, for the rest of their lives. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer questions. When are the absentee ballots due? The absentee ballots must be turned in by, it's the Friday before the election. Actually, you know what? I need to look that up.
May 16th.
Okay, can I get another question while I'm stalling, while we look up the exact answer for it? Yes.
You can still come in and answer the questions. Now, when you go to the election board and tell you're independent, you can't vote in the primary. How do you get the right?
Okay, so the question is, what happens if you walk in and someone tells you, oh, you're an independent, you can't vote in the primary? Okay, so you could try to persuade them. That's one way, is to say, well, I know that there's a primary election, but there's also a special election for city council and ballot questions, and I should be able to vote for that. Now, that may or may not work. If that doesn't work, you can call our office. Let me give you the number.
It's on the book.
No, it's on the book.
And it's
on
May
the book.
16th. It is right, May 16th.
May 16th, which is Friday, is the last day to turn in
Absentee ballot.
an absentee ballot, and I think it's by 5 p.m., I'm pretty sure.
That's a completed one, but not your.
A completed
The
one.
application has to be turned in by.
The Tuesday before, I think.
Right, at 12, I think it's at 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuesday the 12th is the last day to turn in your application. So the absentee ballot is generally a two-step process. First, you have to send in your application. We send you the ballot. You fill out the ballot. You send it in to us. But actually, there's a way that you can do all of your absentee ballot very quickly, which is if you go to room 142 City Hall, and you can do that now, and really, no reason to wait. You can do that tomorrow. Go to room 142 City Hall, say, I'd like to vote my absentee ballot. They will give you the application, you'll fill it out, you'll turn it in, they'll give you the ballot. You vote your ballot, turn it in, you're done. One-stop absentee ballot shopping. One thing though, in that case, because you're coming in person to the Board of Elections, you actually do need a photo ID. Okay? Just in this one case, for the right to be handed your absentee ballot. Okay? No, if you don't have a photo ID, you can request a ballot, you can mail in a request for an absentee ballot. But you do need a photo ID to do this one-stop absentee ballot. Again, room 142, City Hall. But I want to continue my answer to your question. So what happens if you get to the table in the polling place and they say, oh, you can't vote because you're not a Democrat or a Republican? And you say, well, that's not correct because blah, 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 and you're very polite. And they say, well, that's what you think, but I'm the judge of elections and what I say goes. And by the way, when the judge of elections says goes, the judge of elections is in charge in the polling place. However, the judge is not allowed to do anything illegal, and denying you your right to vote is illegal. And you can, what I recommend to everybody is first step, just call the district attorney, okay? Because as city commissioner, I can give the judge of elections my opinion, but I can't really enforce anything. The district attorney can arrest the judge of elections for illegal behavior in the polling place. So the district attorney is where you want to call. I'm always glad to hear from you. I'll always give you advice on election day, but you can skip the middleman if you like. Yes? When are the absentee ballots counted? The absentee ballots are counted after the election. So in the few days, in the course of the days following the day everybody goes to the polls. Yes?
Yes. You say Lieutenant Governor is in charge of felonies, making decisions and all
So,
that of that.
the question is, what does the lieutenant governor do? So the lieutenant governor does a couple things. First of all, the lieutenant governor is there in case something happens to the governor. And in Pennsylvania, it's been quite frequent that the governor maybe has gotten tapped for a federal job or something else has happened. So the lieutenant governor might become the governor. That's one thing. The lieutenant governor is also on the board of pardons. So if someone, I believe it's with a state conviction, state law conviction, asks for a pardon, that board of pardons is the first group of people who have to approve it. Okay, and then the lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate and casts a tie if there's a tie vote. And the lieutenant governor is involved with the administration of PEMA, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Association.
Are they in charge of people that are that may be given a role and they make a decision as to whether they should be paroled or not paroled?
So the question is the lieutenant governor connected to the decisions that are made about parole, whether someone will get parole or not? I don't believe that the lieutenant governor is, by virtue of his office, connected with that. I'm not absolutely sure. Do you happen to know whether the lieutenant governor has any role in parole decisions?
Yes, vote.
Parole decisions? Do those go to
Pardon.
No.
pardons? Right. So the lieutenant governor has a role in terms of pardons, but not in terms of parole. In a pardon, basically the governor says, well, you've been convicted of this crime, but I pardon you. So you go free, it's expunged from your record. That's a pardon, and that's really great, and it doesn't happen for many people.
Stephanie, the parole board is independent.
The parole board, which makes decisions about you're incarcerated, but we can let you out on parole, that's independent of the pardon board and the lieutenant governor. Okay, I think that you really need to hear from the candidates much more than you need to hear from me. It's been a pleasure to be here, and go to it. Let the democratic process begin.